They did a lot of damage to Hatterene, but I was a lot more worried about them attacking Ursaluna. But I can understand them being afraid of Hatterene because, I mean, yeah, I could just do that, especially now that they've terrestrialized. And it was not Sash or Shifu, by the way. Welcome back to VGC Legends. This is the series where I spin a wheel, get a random, legendary, or mythical Pokemon, speed build a team around that Pokemon, and try that team out on the VGC Regulation J ladder on Pokemon Showdown. I do this for two reasons. One is that I just really like legendary and mythical Pokemon, and I want to give each one its due. And the other is that by speed building a whole bunch of different teams and trying them out, some good, some bad, some in between, and some just plain weird, I have a fun little adventure, and maybe I learn some things along the way. Not much more to say. Let's spin the wheel and see what we get. Except, wait, I can't. I was hoping at least an animation would still play, but no, the wheel will not spin at all because I have run out of legendary and mythical Pokemon. And I guess what that means is that I simply can't use any of them anymore, and I'm just going to have to build a Reg J team without any legendaries and without any mythicals. It's the only way forward, right? So let's do it. Okay, so really what's going on here is I wanted to do a video where I tried a double restricted format with no legendaries. Basically because I saw a Reddit comment a few months ago saying that it couldn't be done. You just lose every game. Trying to give good advice to a new player, which is generally true, right? Like, you won't lose every game. But if you intentionally nerf the power level of your own team, you're going to be playing at a disadvantage pretty much all the time. You're going to lose more often than you win. Very, very likely. And VGC players are typically thinking about what will perform well consistently in the highest level tournaments, and cutting out a lot of the strongest Pokemon from your team just doesn't do that. So, I mean, this is a game that can be approached in a lot of different ways with a lot of different goals. But if your goal is to get good competitive results and win a lot, that's just not compatible with the mindset that you don't use legendaries in high power formats, right? That said, it can be fun to get creative. It can be fun to take on a challenge. And so as soon as I saw that discussion on Reddit, I thought, I want to do a video. It was Reg I at the time. I want to do a video where I try this format with no legendaries at all on my team. And then I realized I'd already started this series. It was pretty early on at the time, but I'd already started it, and I thought I can actually incorporate that idea into this series and say that when I run out of legendaries, I then flip the formula and I make a team with none of them at all. And with the addition of mythical Pokemon later, we'll cut those out too. So, how do I do that? Well, good news for me, because I was pretty strict about how I was defining legendary and mythical Pokemon in this series, every single Paradox Pokemon is still available to me. Unless you count Koraidon and Miraidon as Paradox Pokemon. Those two are unavailable, but all the others are available. And half of them benefit from strong sunlight, including probably the best one for something like this. A Pokemon that just has a lot of awesome stats and a strong priority attack and whatnot. I actually thought, like, Calm Mind, Raging Bolt, Balance, like people ran in Regulation F, might be my first go at this kind of team, but I don't think it holds up in a Regulation J power level. But what I think could hold up is a Sun team with Raging Bolt and Torkoal. We can make that a Sun Room team, right? We can incorporate a Trick Room mode then. Not sure what the Trick Room setter will be, but that gives us access to Ursaluna, a Pokemon often said to be about as strong as a restricted legendary, but not actually a legendary at all. We can run Hisui and Lilligant for some speed control shenanigans, right? Or I could do Jumpluff, or I could do Whimsicott. I could make it a Tail Room team, but Lilligant with Chlorophyll is going to outspeed a lot of things. We'll get after you. We get priority, not priority, but just very fast Trick Room. Neutral priority Trick Room with this, or Eruption with Torkoal. And then for the other two slots, because I think Raging Bolt definitely stays. That mon is just so good. For the other two slots, we can look at Flutter Mane. We can look at Walking Wake. Just pull up Photosynthesis here. I mean, we can also look at, like, Incineroar, right? We could do Incineroar Brute Bonded or something. But Flutter Mane, Walking Wake. But there still does have to be a Trick Room setter, is the other thing. I mean, Flutter Mane could be very good on this team, but I I don't think there's going to be room for Walking Wake, but I could build in a Psy Spam component, right? So I could do Indeedee. This is how I get the Trick Room up. Indeedee and something that learns Expanding Force. Could be Armor Rouge. Obviously, it can't be any of these. Could be Armor Rouge, Iron Ball, Hisuian, Braviary, but like why? It could be Delphox. That was a real Reg H tech for a while. I don't think Delphox can compete in this format, though. I think Armor Rouge is probably just better. I could do Exeggutor with Chlorophyll and Expanding Force. But I think I want this to also be setting Trick Room, right? And Exeggutor, kind of a mixed bag if I'm running Chlorophyll, because then it's super fast if I have the sun up. It's a fun idea. I could do Iron Crown. Does Iron Crown learn Trick Room? I wouldn't bet on it. There's Hatterene, there's Armor Rouge. Probably Hatterene or Armor Rouge is the best pick. Does Iron Crown learn Trick Room? No. I didn't think so. Alright, so what's the comparison here? Armor Rouge, 125 base special attack, decent bulk. Hatterene gives me the fairy typing that I otherwise don't have without Fluttermane. Higher special attack, lower speed, the bulk is comparable. I think we go Hatterene here. So I think we go Raging Bolt, Torkoal, Ursaluna, Lilligant, Indeedee, Hatterene. Is this team trying to do too many things all at once? Would I be better off with like Fluttermane instead of Lilligant or something? Or again, a Tailwind setter somewhere? I don't think so. I think Lilligant ties things together in a way that insert Fast Attacker or Tailwind setter doesn't really win. Like, this doesn't benefit from Tailwind, this only does situationally, this doesn't at all. They can all benefit from After You, especially Torkoal. And yeah, I just don't want to get my speed control scrambled, right? Like, trying to go fast with Tailwind or just a fast attacker like a Fluttermane just doesn't play well with Hatterene or Torkoal, I think. As for the sets, let's, since there's no mythical or legendary to make shiny, let's make everyone shiny, except I think Raging Bolt can't be. So you know what? Raging Bolt will stand out from the rest of the team in the first slot as the non-shiny. Torkoal, I'll do a typical Charcoal, Drought, Terra Fire, Eruption. I like 3 fire attacks now. I think each of these attacks is individually more useful than Earth Power on Torkoal, at least most of the time. I'll probably just do max special attack, min speed. Something like, I don't know why I put in speed EVs when I said min speed. I guess I was just thinking about speed. Something like that. A lot of the team will probably look something like that. Ursaluna. I can still plug in sets that I know, right? And then, yeah, Indeedee and Hatterene being able to set up Trick Room pretty reliably. Or Lilligant doing it. I could do Eject Pack Torkoal, actually. With Overheat. That's something to think about in a moment. Lilligant being able to give me fast Trick Room situationally is pretty good. Also, I cannot run Ice Rider Calyrex on this team, so for the first time in a while, I don't have to think about whether I have to think about an Ursaluna Calyrex speed tie. Lilligant can run After You, Sleep Powder, Close Combat maybe. I like the strong fighting move, I think. I could do Focus Sash, or I could do Covert Cloak. I think I want Protect. I could do Covert Cloak and like 2 attacks, one of them Leaf Blade. I think I want Protect. I'll give it Terra Ghost as well for situational second way to avoid Fake Out that still allows Lilligant to use an option. To use an action to do something, it gives it an option. I think Eject Pack Overheat Torkoal might actually be the call here, because I can pivot like, I could lead something like Torkoal, Hatterene, pivot Torkoal out, get Indeedee in after you trip. But what is the position where I would do that is the question. I think this is fine. And Torkoal just goes for damage with Eruption. And then I can have Indeedee, Hatterene in the back in some modes, right? And that still gives me a way to potentially use... I mean, I don't have to build the team around After You and Trick Room. It's just a nice tech that I can have available. But I can, I think, just with even still with this set, get into positions where I can make use of it. Indeedee. I've liked Rocky Helmet Indeedee. in large part to threaten Urshifu. I don't know if this team's that afraid of Urshifu. I have Raging Bolt. Maybe a single strike Urshifu, but then I have Hatterene. I could just do a Psychic Seed in DD. Could be useful to have this tank more hits when there's no restricted Pokemon to bail me out of a tough spot. Let's do Psychic Seed in DD. I'll go Terra Grass, though, for the Spore immunity. It's also nice that they can't Spore Hatterene with Magic Bounce. But follow me, Helping Hand, Psychic Trick Room. Very simple. Pretty much what you want on Indeedee. Maybe a Heal Pulse could be interesting, but I don't think it's worth dropping any of these other moves. Hatterene. I haven't used a Hatterene in quite a while. I think Life Orb is probably the item of choice. Wanted to hit as hard as I can. It doesn't get Moonblast, right? I think it just gets Dazzling Gleam. It does get Mystical Fire, which gives it some coverage and is powered up by the sun. So probably just something like Expanding Force, Dazzling Gleam. I could run Psychic because... Oh, this also doesn't have room for Protect, but I think that's okay. I think we can live without Protect. Let's Terra Fire for the buff. I could run Psychic to get around Wide Guard, but I like the coverage from Mystical Fire. So I'll just have to find other ways around Wide Guard. I started Pencil Protecting anyway, but no, I need Trick Room. So no Protect on these two, but they should get Trick Room up very reliably. And again, you can imagine what the EV spreads are likely to be. And then that leaves Raging Bolt. I could do... The Life Orb is already taken. Actually, Hatterene will want something like this in its HP. So it ends with a 9, because that's optimal for Life Orb. Life Orb is already taken. I could use a Magnet. I could use an Assault Vest. I could use a Booster Energy, because I won't have Sun up all the time. Booster Energy is not that bad an idea. I don't think Assault Vest is right, because I think this team just wants to set up Trick Room and try to win within those few turns. More or less, right? I mean, Lilligant and Torkoal will give it another dynamic it can play with early game fire spam, but otherwise I think that's basically what it wants to do. So I think I could even run like Specs Raging Bolt. But I think I'd rather be able to switch moves. I actually think I will go with the Booster Energy. Or Magnet. I could do Magnet. But again, it's in Reg J, I'm not always going to have Sun up, so I think it's okay to just do this. Thunderclap, Thunderbolt, Draco Meteor, and Protect. And just try to overpower opponents with this set. I could run a Magnet. Because then I get that. The thing about Booster Energy is if I do have Sun up, it does nothing. With a Magnet, I can get the Photosynthesis boost and special attack. And also get another damage boost to 2 of my 3 attacks on top of that. On the other hand, with Booster Energy, of course, I get a more consistent floor because I get the Photosynthesis boost one time without Sun. My gut is saying Booster Energy. I'm not sure that it's right, but I think that's what I'll go with. And you can imagine the EV spreads on this team. This is going to be fast. The rest are going to be slow, bulky, and all but Indeedee trained to hit very hard. So I'll just fill that in. You know what? For once, why don't I just do it right now? What's the min speed on Raging Bolt? I know it has some kind of guaranteed IV. What is it? Is it 20? Well. Is it 19? I think it's 20. Yeah, okay. I mean, people complain about this, but like, as long as the lowest possible speed IV on Raging Bolt is 20, that just means this is its min speed. Doesn't really make a difference, right? As long as nobody else can get a slower one. If a slower one is distributed someday, then I can understand people complaining, but to be honest, I really don't understand it right now. I think with Miraidon, it's technically optimal to run a shiny, right? Because the Miraidon you get in-game has guaranteed 31 attack IV, and the shiny doesn't. So that's kind of silly. I don't have a shiny Miraidon, by the way, so... if I want to take Miraidon to a tournament, not that I've gotten the chance this generation. Well, I went to a Reg G in-person tournament, but I haven't had the chance in quite a while now. but I would be disadvantaged by not having a shiny Miraudon very slightly. I mean, I don't usually bother with 31 or with 0 attack IV on special attackers anyway. It is optimal, but it's very unlikely it ever comes up. Anyway, there we go. It kept the EV spreads very simple, and for once, I have actually filled them out on recording. So I guess I don't even have to open a paste. I can just jump into the laddering session now. Wow, changing the formula right at the end. Keeping things fresh, I suppose. I think I'm going to do... Often I play until 3 losses, and then I decide on the fly if I want to play more. But this team... Let's be honest, I think it's strong, but I have cut myself off from most of the most powerful things in this format. I think this team is going to have an uphill battle in pretty much any matchup. So I think if I just play until 3 losses, that might be... I might play 3 games. What I think I might do, and I'll reserve the right to change my mind, is in a recent video I did a best of 7 series inspired approach, basically seeing if I could win 4 games before I lost 4 games. I think I'll do that again here, and then if I want to play more after that, I will. I think I'll also definitely play until I win at least 1. So if I lose the first 4 games, we'll keep going. Anyway, Urshifu, Incineroar, Rillaboom, Ice Rider, Calyrex, Magearna, and Annihilate, so not making it easy for me right off the bat. I think I like Torkoal Lilligant lead into this because I can outspeed and Sleep Powder, or no, I can't close combat Annihilate, it's a ghost type, but I can outspeed and close and Sleep Powder Annihilate. Or Sleep Powder Magearna, and into any other kind of lead from my opponent, I can at least try to get some offensive pressure out with Torkoal. And then... Okay, one problem with this team, I think I need a Trick Room setter, but I don't think I like Hatterene in this matchup. So I think it might just be Indeedee and one of these guys. I'd like to bring both of these guys, but if I bring them without their speed control, I think that's bad. Let's do Indeedee or Ursaluna in the back. They lead Incineroar and Calyrex. So in my experience on this ladder, most Annihilate Magearna teams lead Annihilate Magearna, and they click Final Gambit turn 1. So that's what I was anticipating here. I want to just Sleep Powder the Calyrex. But I don't know which of my Pokemon they'll fake out. But this is very good if I can get away with it. Terra Fire. It could have been Covert Cloak Lilligant. People run that, but my opponent was unafraid, I guess. The Calyrex is going to resist... Both their Pokemon are going to resist the fire attack now, but they set Trick Room for me. Very good if I can get Ursaluna in. Although it will speed tie with Calyrex. And in the meantime, I think Eruption ought to do good damage anyway in the sun. Not like the greatest damage in the world, but I think it ought to do something reasonable. And I'll go for another Sleep Powder into Calyrex. They're not going to let me do it. They're going to knock out Lilligant, and that's going to be how I get Ursaluna in. That was an Eruption crit. Okay, that damage was not that respectable after all. Okay, Parting Shot. They're going to be able to bring Incineroar back in and intimidate Ursaluna now. Well, I said every matchup would be an uphill battle here. It's Rapid Strike Urshifu. I go Ursaluna. I now don't have room really to even try to hold out for my Flame Orb, protecting at my Flame Orb, so I think I just... Okay, Eruption is still stronger than Heat Wave, so I do that. I guess I just Headlong Rush the Calyrex immediately? Do I just lose to Urshifu after that? I'm going to Terra Ghost to cover for close combat because their Surging Strikes is weakened by the sun. Calyrex is gone. I might have won a speed tie, or they might not be running min speed. I still am not weak to Surging Strikes, so the Terra Ghost is not entirely useless here. They also won't be able to fake out Ursaluna this next turn. And with Torkoal being slower than Ursaluna, I think I'm down to sack my own Torkoal here and just go for Eruption and Earthquake. They can fake out Torkoal. I didn't think about that, but they couldn't fake out Ursaluna. If I'd gotten that Eruption, though, I would have gotten the KO on Urshifu this turn. Doesn't happen. They don't quite take out Ursaluna, but they might have Aqua Jet. Ursaluna holding on at 1%, and I'm down to just Indeedee now, so I'm in danger. Actually, they can't Aqua Jet me in Psychic Terrain. I might be okay. But they... No, because they can Protect Magearna and then Dazzling Gleam next turn. I lose to that. Maybe they don't have Protect for some reason. It's definitely Psychic or Shifu and Headlong Rush Magearna. And they actually let me do that? Okay. Did the Magearna not have Protect? I feel like it was pretty simple for my opponent to convert this if they just protected their Magearna there. Because then they're out of Trick Room. Magearna is faster than Ursaluna. Unless it's running like an Iron... No, it is faster because Ursaluna moved before it in Trick Room. And they can just Dazzling Gleam to get around the Follow Me. Unless they don't have Dazzling Gleam. Maybe they only have Fleur Cannon or something. But okay, we actually win the very first game with this team. I didn't think that would happen. I'm impressed already with how much my Pokemon love me, I suppose. Strength of their convictions. I'm impressed already with the strength of the convictions of my non-legendary, non-mythical Pokemon looking to prove themselves on this so very legendary and mythical ladder. Their names will be etched in legend and myths by the end of this run. But if we're doing the best of 7 series model, that is a 1-0 series lead. Next opponent has a scary team, but they're all going to be scary teams. Kyogre, Chien-Pao, or Shifu, Raging Bolt, Amoonguss, and Zacian. This one is Zacian. Okay, Trick Room is really good here. Their best answer to it is Amoonguss. And I have Terragrass and Indeedee if I really need it. Ursaluna is immune once it's burned. To the Spore, I mean. Hatterene bounces it back. So I think the Indeedee Hatterene lead here is good. The reason I'm hesitating is, do I just fold to a Water Spout? But that's also a reason I can Terragrass Indeedee. Do I bring Torkoal and Ursaluna? It feels counterintuitive to not bring Raging Bolt against Kyogre, but I think I do just want to get my Trick Room up and sweep with these guys if I can. Torkoal also underspeeds Amoonguss, right? Yeah, it does. So that's another way to deal with Amoonguss inside Trick Room. And they don't lead Kyogre here, so I actually can just... Also, Indeedee consumed its item, so it won't take boosted damage from knockoff. Maybe Roaring Moon can still one-shot it. I'm not 100% certain. I wouldn't bet on it. I think I can just Follow Me in Trick Room here. And then assuming Hatterene gets through this turn and gets the Trick Room up, the Dazzling Gleam looks very strong the next turn. So I have a lot of powerful offense. I just have to actually try to convert. Get Trick Room up and then convert before it ends. I'm sure in like every game with this team on this ladder, I don't get Trick Room up more than once. Right, surely. Okay, Kyogre's here now. But that guarantees I get the Trick Room up, because Urshifu can only attack one target. It does knock out Indeedee. That's also okay, because it lets Ursaluna in. Oh... maybe I should have gone Torkoal first, because the Urshifu is... The problem here is I can't protect and get the burn, because the Urshifu can just knock Ursaluna out, right? Unless I one-shot Urshifu with Dazzling Gleam, but I'm not confident that I do, because it could Terrasilize and it could have a Focus Sash. But Ursaluna still has a very high attack stat without the Guts boost. I think I just throw a Headlong Rush at this Kyogre. And it's not... It's not Dazzling Gleam in this position, right? It's Expanding Force. Because that's stronger. The Roaring Moon is off the field. I think I just do that, and I Expanding Force here, and hope for the best. I almost forgot. I get fooled by Showdown backgrounds all the time. I almost forgot Psychic Terrain was still up. I know there's text here. I do see it. It's a little bit faded into the background, so I don't always focus on it very well. Okay, Dazzling Gleam might have been better. But this does more damage to Kyogre, which is the bigger concern right now. As we do knock it out, and Ursaluna will get that burn. So actually, I think I made the right call. Maybe not. Yeah, so at this point, Psychic Terrain has been overridden by Trick Room and Rain Dance. Those are the things I see clearly in the background. The text is kind of faded. It doesn't really draw your attention. I actually think that is a significant part of my problem here. I'll cover for Sash or Shifu. It's Booster Energy Roaring Moon, so the Sash is definitely not there. So let's Facade this and Dazzling Gleam. Yeah, anyway, I do get fooled by Showdown backgrounds like that sometimes. Maybe my opponent did too. I kind of almost did this time. Okay, they detect. Okay, so Facade into... Okay, so Facade into Roaring Moon would have worked better there, but my opponent doesn't really punish me. We can just Facade and Expanding Force here. Roaring Moon isn't immune anymore. They did a lot of damage to Hatterene, but I was a lot more worried about them attacking Ursaluna. But I can understand them being afraid of Hatterene because, I mean, yeah, I could just do that, especially now that they've Terrestrialized. And it was not Sash Urshifu, by the way. It's probably Sash Champao, but we're not going to find out because they didn't bring it. This is the last turn of Trick Room, but Zacian shouldn't be able to 1v1 everything from here. It'll probably protect this turn. Doesn't matter. I'll just Headlong Rush, and Mystical Fire is weakened by the rain, so let's Expanding Force. It does protect, but then next turn I attack it with both Pokemon, and it can only take out one of them. And the rain ends, so I can now... I can go for Mystical Fire. I actually think I'm better off... It's a little bit safer if I click Trick Room with Hatterene this turn. Zacian can either deny the Trick Room or drop to Headlong Rush. It chooses to stop the Headlong Rush and let the Trick Room go up, which, yeah, I mean, maybe I would too. It doesn't really matter at this point. Let's hit it with the biggest eruption we can and a totally unnecessary Mystical Fire. Torkoal closes out the win with a totally unnecessary crit. Kind of overkill. And that's a 2-0 series lead, so to speak. Oh, look, Pecharunt. I just used this last episode. This is probably a better Pecharunt team. They got defense boosting Tatsugiri, which I suppose is more sensible. I guess I didn't really have a clear direction for the Dondozo on my team. They do have Miraidon as the other restricted, which is something I thought about, but didn't really see the vision for. And they have Chi-Yu to boost its damage as well. And then Iron Valiant is an interesting utility Pokemon. But enough admiring my opponent's team. I need to figure out how to beat it. I think, once again, I want to get the Trick Room up right away. If I can, I'll bring Ursaluna for sure. Ursaluna is very strong into everything here except Dondozo. And then I guess Raging Bolt is how I try to deal with Dondozo. I feel pretty good into everything they have except Dondozo, but very much not so good into Dondozo. So I feel like a lot might come down to that. They also could have Wide Guard on the Iron Valiant, which then would be a problem for my Hatterene that is so committed to spread moves. But for now, I think we just follow me. I have terrain control, so Miraidon probably doesn't one-shot Indeedee. I also have the Psychic Seed, which I don't even run very often these days. So Indeedee's going to take even less than I'm used to. Pecharunt could... Poison Gas will be bounced back. Pecharunt could... I don't think Pecharunt has a way to poison Hatterene this turn, so I don't think I even have to worry about confusion. Malignant Chain will be redirected into Indeedee. Oh, it's Snarl Miraidon. Is it a Salt Vest Miraidon? Salt Vest Miraidon would make sense, I guess. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that interaction either. Poison Gas is a spread poisoning move. And so Hatterene bounced it back into both opponents. You can see that going either way, right? Because it's only one of their targets bouncing it back. But we do actually poison the opponent's Miraidon with that. And now... I think I'm just going to Helping Hand and Expanding Force. The damage is going to be weakened to Miraidon, but I think it still does a lot to Pecharunt. Yep, KOs. Actually does a lot into Miraidon still as well. Hatterene, it's easy to forget because you don't see it too often in the current meta, but Hatterene is very strong. It was an absolute menace in Sword and Shield. Pretty much the premier Trick Room attacker. Now Dondozo's here. Oh no, Dondozo's here. I think I just Helping Hand Expanding Force again. Yeah. The problem was this. I wanted to knock out Miraidon if they left it in and not bring Raging Bolt in on a Snarl. But yeah, they were always able to do that. That still does so much. Hatterene is unreal. Why is this Pokemon not used more? I guess there are just so many overwhelming Trick Room threats these days. I'm going to Protect here and switch to Ursaluna, and I think they're going to show me their Terra. No, I forgot they used the Terra Electric on Miraidon already. Oh, this is so... Oh, I actually threw there because Dondozo protected. If I had attacked with Raging Bolt, they would have used their Protect. It would have a chance to fail on this last turn of Trick Room. But Protect fails Protect always fails if it's the last action of the turn. So because I protected and switched, Dondozo's Protect was guaranteed to fail there, and now they have a free Protect to get out of Trick Room. With no chance to fail because their last one failed. I could have prevented that by just attacking Dondozo, and I didn't think of it. The Earthquake now, right? I'm never getting Trick Room back up. Hatterene is at 11.9% and it's the only Trick Room setter I have left. I think I Thunderclap. Do I Terra Electric? I think I might as well. Maybe I crit them too, who knows? And Facade Dondozo. Big Thunderclap. It's actually Body Press into Ursaluna. I was worried they were going to take out my Raging Bolt or at least do heavy damage to it there, but this should put Raging Bolt in a very good position the rest of the way, right? It is now not weak to Miraidon's dragon attacks. I don't know what this Tatsugiri can do, but let's try to keep it from doing anything if we can. And click Facade into Miraidon. It's not Sash Tatsugiri, so the Thunderclap just takes it out. Raging Bolt does survive a Draco Meteor, but in any case, Ursaluna takes out the Raging Bolt with Facade. And after all my talk about how difficult this was going to be, I have actually won the first 3 games. And I just need one more to meet my original goal of 4 wins. Maybe this is a play to 3 losses video after all, or maybe I lose the next 4 games, or maybe I take one more win somewhere in there and I'm satisfied. We'll see. But there we go. Do not get the wrong idea from this. This team would not be reliable in an official tournament. Not that there are official tournaments in Reg J, but certainly even in Reg I, right? It would not be reliable. I would not have very many serious thoughts at all about locking it in for one. But you put some good synergies together and you can actually make a decent ladder team. Well, more decent than you might think out of some Pokemon you might not expect be the ones performing, huh? It's a fun little challenge. People who are very focused on, maximizing their skill level and doing everything they can to win are not going to see a lot of value in this, and that's totally valid, but that's not the only way to play. Personally, I like to play a lot of different ways over time. So I have signed up for the Toronto Regional. I'm going to have to get serious about that in Regulation F, but I do like my silly ladder challenges like this for sure. Anyway. Incineroar, Shadow Rider, Calyrex, Whimsicott, Koraidon, Rillaboom, and Regieleki. This team wants to go super fast, which is probably good news for me. I think it's totally sensible for me to just lead these 2. Maybe I Terra Fire the Hatterene if it's Shadow Rider trying to overwhelm me with Astral Barrage, but we can cross that bridge when we come to it. Do I bring Ursaluna? Do I bring Torkoal? Do I bring Raging Bolt? I think Ursaluna Raging Bolt is okay. It's kind of weak to Rillaboom. I could patch that up with Torkoal, but in which slot? I don't think I need the Raging Bolt. You know what? I think it's Ursaluna Torkoal. I don't think the Raging Bolt specifically brings that much to the table here. Yeah, in my Trick Room. So it is Incineroar and Calyrex. Oh, they could switch Rillaboom in and Fake Out, right? They could also just rip an Astral Barrage immediately. I am going to follow me, and I'm going to Terra Fire Trick Room. There might be a way they can stop this. But I don't think we're going to see it. Oh, they just Nasty Plot immediately with the Calyrex. This player means business, and it's Taunt Incineroar. I don't think that would have worked into Hatterene, right? It would have been Magic Bounced. But in any case, it goes into Indeedee. Hatterene gets the Trick Room up. Now I want to break a Focus Sash on the Calyrex if they have it, so I'll just Psychic. And I mean, I might as well start attacking. Mystical Fire can also take away one of their Nasty Plot boosts. Half of their total Nasty Plot boost. Indeedee can't click anything except Psychic, and I don't think I'm incentivized to switch here. It's U-turn Incineroar. Parting Shot I think would have been bounced back, right? Whichever, if I remember correctly, would lower Incineroar's stats and force my Hatterene to switch out, which would be pretty funny. They knock out Hatterene here, but I can get Torkoal in now. I'm going to have to protect around the Fake Out pressure from the Rillaboom. Oh, they can pivot around with their guys now, and that's annoying. I'm going to try to get Ursaluna in here so I can get Indeedee back in and get the terrain control, because if they just pivot the Rillaboom out, they can get me with Incineroar. But nope, they do fake out into my Protect. They also Astral Barrage into my Protect. Ursaluna's immune. I am down to switch Indeedee right back in, so I don't have to worry about fake out in the near term. I'm already running low on Trick Room turns. In the meantime, let's just Erupt. They do have at least one fire resist in the back, potentially two. There's the one that I know about. They protect the Calyrex. That means they can't do that next turn. What they can do is switch it out or Rillaboom and fake out Torkoal. I don't know that I have an answer to that, if that's what they want to do. They're just going to follow me and Erupt. But yeah, I called this out. I just don't know how to deal with it. I mean, I might get another... They're very incentivized to knock out Indeedee here, and they probably will, but I'm going to take the opportunity if I can get it to get another Trick Room, and I'll go for Heat Wave in case they do a lot of damage to Torkoal. I don't think they attack Torkoal here. I think they attack Indeedee. And I think they knock out Indeedee and I don't get another Trick Room, but I'm going to try. Okay, it's U-turn. Interesting. Who's coming in? Koraidon. Oh, this other Trick Room would make it... Oh, they're right. It's Taunt Incineroar. That other Trick Room would have made a huge difference. I think it was totally worthwhile to go for it, but yeah, they do prevent it. I'll Psychic Koraidon here, and surely damage is going to start coming out into Torkoal. So I'll Heat Wave. It's close combat into Torkoal. Do they let me have this Psychic into Koraidon? They do. It crits and KOs. Indeedee and Torkoal, this is the nice thing about hard Trick Rooms, right? They're both tanking so many hits. Rillaboom just drops to the Heat Wave. I switched my Fire-type move at just the right time. All that, and I probably still lose to Shadow Rider Calyrex, by the way. But with Ursaluna undamaged in the back, there might be a chance. I'm not going to switch Ursaluna in and let it get hurt here, so I'm just going to click Psychic into Calyrex because that's all Indeedee can do, and protect Torkoal. The Fake Out goes into Torkoal. Nasty Plot on the Calyrex. Do I just lose to that? The thing is, two of my Pokemon are immune to Astral Barrage. Indeedee is the only one that isn't. I'm going to click Trick Room with Indeedee here. There's no way they let me get it, but like, what if they do? And just Heat Wave. Astral Barrage. What does Incineroar do? +3 Calyrex. They're just going to be able to knock out... They say GG already in the chat. They're just going to be able to knock out Ursaluna with a Psychic or something. I do have the burn already. I don't have to goof around with Protect. Let's just click Earthquake. Yeah, okay. Alright, well, 4 consecutive wins was a little out of my reach, but 3 was pretty good, and we'll get at least a few more cracks at that last one. Oh, this is also a Trick Room team. How do I deal with this? They're also running hard Trick Room, but they have better Pokemon. I'm not allowed to use Ice Rider Calyrex. I'm not allowed to use Lunala, and I'm not allowed to use what I assume is Single Strike or Shifu, but I wouldn't be able to use Rapid Strike either. Is Lilligant my wild card here? Can I do something with Lilligant? Can I lead Lilligant, Torkoal? Then Lunala Wide Guard is an issue, but maybe I can Sleep Powder it. Let's try the Lilligant Torkoal lead here. I've been leading pretty hard on Indeedee Hatterene, but I don't think it's the right call in this game. I don't know if there is a right call in this game. We'll find out. Raging Bolt also is something that sets my team apart here. It does have issues with the Ice Rider, but it's very strong into a lot of the rest of what they have. Maybe it's not that strong into Lunala. Honestly, I've had trouble finding good matchups for Raging Bolt throughout this laddering session, so it's kind of funny that that Pokemon was my starting point. I think Ursaluna is so strong I kind of just have to bring it. I'm going to bring Raging Bolt. I'm just going to go without a Trick Room setter. Leave it up to my opponent whether we play in Trick Room or not. Okay, Smeargle, Lunala. They have both of their possible Wide Guard users. I'm going to say... Well, they can only fake out one of my Pokemon. So I'm going to... I don't think there's a Wide Guard this turn. I think it's Trick Room with Lunala, and it's Fake Out with Smeargle. I could Terra Ghost the Lilligant and go for the Sleep Powder on Lunala right here. They also could click Follow Me with Smeargle. But I'm feeling Fake Out here. So I'm going to go Eruption. Terra Ghost, Sleep Powder, Lunala. I'm basically just calling out the Fake Out and Trick Room. It's not Fake Out. It's Spore into Torkoal. But I do deny a Trick Room. I don't know if that's necessarily what I want to do here, but it happens. I'm still going for that Eruption. I'll go for a close combat into Smeargle as well. Look to break its Focus Sash. I'm kind of behind here, partly because I committed my Terra to this and they didn't have to do that. Yeah, that Spore was pretty smart. I thought of 3 different things Smeargle could do, but that wasn't one of them. There's the Sash. Imagine the turn 1 Wake Up on Torkoal. They can Spore Lilligant now. I didn't even think about that. Alright, Torkoal. Wake up before the Lunala does, please. Lunala stays asleep. It's Decorate from the Smeargle. Torkoal stays asleep. No. They both took maximum sleep turns, so now Lunala is guaranteed to wake up before Torkoal. But Lilligant could wake up here and get an After You into Torkoal before anything else happens. These two both took maximum sleep turns. I think we're due for a short one. I know that's not how it works, but let's see it, please. Follow me. Oh, that redirects the After You, doesn't it? But they Moongeist Beam Lilligant, so Torkoal, after all that's happened, will still get this Eruption at full power. I mean, it's into Shadow Shield, but it's Single Strike or Shifu now. I'll click Sleep Powder into the Lilligant again and go for Heat Wave. Or into the Lunala again and go for Heat Wave. Actually in a pretty good spot, I think, if I land this Sleep Powder. Could be Scarf or Shifu. I don't think it would be on this team, but it's not impossible. Obviously, they can't Sucker Punch Lilligant because I haven't gone for an attack. They could protect Lunala if they have the ability to, and then take out Lilligant with the Urshifu. It's Sucker Punch into Torkoal. Okay. I thought about still clicking Eruption there because they seem to want to get rid of Lilligant, but I'm glad I went for Heat Wave instead. That knocks out Torkoal with a crit. Sorry, it knocks out Urshifu with a crit. Sun is gone. Lunala's asleep. Calyrex is here. Sun may be gone, but I mean, Heat Wave is still strong into these two Pokemon, and I can Sleep Powder the Calyrex. Protect it. Fair enough. Lunala stays asleep. Heat Wave doesn't quite KO, but they forfeit. And folks, this team just went 4-1 on the Regulation J ladder without a single legendary or mythical Pokemon. That is, let's be honest, a far better performance than some of the legendary and mythical centered teams did. If there's a lesson in that, I think it's that, well, I mean, here's the thing. This series has never been completely serious all the time. With some of the legendaries and mythicals, I tried to do something silly, and then sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. With some of them, I was more serious. It was a 78-part series. I didn't approach it the same way every single time. But that right there explains some of the bad performance. But also, without one Pokemon to rely on to expect with an expectation that it be the carry, I think this is the real lesson here. I just had to fall back on some well-known cores and synergies. Pokemon that I knew could complement each other very well. There's a reason that Sun Room has been a solid playstyle for a very long time, with Torkoal tying together the Sun component and the Trick Room component very nicely. Also, let's be honest, I kind of did have a centerpiece restricted Pokemon. It just wasn't really restricted. Ursaluna carried this team in some of these games this session. But also Hatterene put in a ton of work. Torkoal put in a ton of work, if I'm being honest. I didn't know Torkoal's game was like that. But yeah, just relying on solid complementary pieces, turns out paid off pretty well. And a lot better than some of the more out there team concepts did. So there may be a lesson in that. And I would definitely not say don't even try laddering in Reg J without legendaries. If there were a major tournament in Reg J, I would probably not ever take a team like this to it. But this was a fun challenge and a good note to end on. I think I am going to call it here. It's been a fun series all the way through. I'm glad this little bonus episode that I thought of doing part way was very enjoyable for me as well. Hopefully it's been fun to watch. And I think that's it for speed building teams and laddering in Regulation J. I don't think I've quite 100% finished my Reg J content yet. I might have already started the next thing by the time this goes up. I do have like 1 or 2 more ideas in this format before it goes away, but this is something I've wanted to do as long as I've had a channel. In fact, it's something I did before I had a channel just for myself back in a different format before I'd ever played VGC. I don't know how it's been to watch, but I've had a lot of fun, and it was definitely a bigger series than I realized when I started it. But we've reached the end now. And yeah, these 6 Pokemon can take their place among the legends of the game, I guess. What an absolute group of heroes.